For those that work at the sea, that's weeping nationality. Salvation is for me, damnation is for the blasphemous liars in industry. Repent, change your ways, and learn your nationality, because your worst nightmares could become your reality. Let go of mortality, another time, hold that line, hold it down like gravity. Good ground where I plant your seed, bring fire upon my enemies. They stole my heritage from me. This is war with casualties. When the Lord casts his judgment, it's gonna be a tragedy. Before I bow down to an image, you gon' have to bury me. It shall be as the days of Noah. He warned, but no one believed. He coming with fervent heat, hot enough to melt your Jesus peace. Tell me, where you gon' run, where you gon' hide? When you play like the eternal. Tell me, are you trying to be in the sheet? By the image of the beat, that's your Christian energy, yeah.
Yeah, man. Levite sound in the building. Big up yourself. The water is the word, Ephesians 5:26. Them thirsty, and we can see the water arise. So what we supposed to do? Teach them now? All praise to the Most High.
Comprendre ce de Bible, aller augmenter qu'on y est. Au café, nous chaque samedi, dans la vie, n'a sauvé vie. Parole de ces bonnes vies, à éliminer tout crime. On peut pas te décrire, car pour ça pas esprit. La loi c'est ça nous suit, et puis la foi nous Christ. C'est lui qui est le Messie. Israël nous choisit, nous pas qu'à nous perdre du temps. Gaspille de références, moi tu pas qui perdre du temps. C'est marcher pour faire avance.
Babylon America a tombé en bas, c'est pas
vini wap tombe, atende l'année qu'on enlève un des yes et non les vrais, pour faire couler les choix, l'amour ou la loi, Jésus son nom noir, n'a fait la bonne pouvoir, chacun de faire sa petite révélation, dit ça, équilibre là, c'est lui-même qui solutionne pour rien, si cal patical, si pas patical, peuple n'a pas nettoyage, les pas physique de son nettoyage mental.
Hey, shalom, shalom. Good morning, Israel. Can y'all hear me? All right. See some thumbs up, so we should be good. Hey, all praises. All right, today we're gonna go over Judges chapter 4. I've done the first couple of chapters thus far, so it ain't gonna be a long class. Just gonna do the 4th chapter today. So let's start. Judges chapter 4, verse 1. And the children of Israel again did evil in the sight of the Lord. And the children of Israel again did evil in the sight of the Lord. This is a common theme throughout the book of Judges. We go through cycle after cycle of deliverance, then revert back to evil once the judge dies, and we go back to our wickedness, and he delivers to the hands of the other nations, right? Again, and the children of Israel again did evil in the sight of the Lord when Ehud was dead. So now in the previous chapter, chapter 3, we look at Judges 3 and 15. All right, that says Judges chapter 3, verse 15. But when the children of Israel cried unto the Lord raised them up a deliverer, Ehud, the son of Gerah, a Benjamite. Okay, so previous chapter, Ehud was raised up. He was the brother that was left-handed. He had a dagger, and he killed the king of Moab. What was his name? Let me see. Eglon, verse 17. And he brought the present unto Eglon, king of Moab, and Eglon was a very fat man. So he ended up killing that king. So we had some deliverance for a while. When Ehud died, we went right back to wickedness, okay? And as we're going to read on, we were delivered into the hand of another king. All right, so I'll go back. Judges chapter 4, verse 1. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord when Ehud was dead. All right, Ehud being a Benjamite. And the Lord sold them into the hand of Jabin, king of Canaan, that reigned in Hazor, the captain of whose host was Sisera, which dwelt in Harosheth of the Gentiles. All right, I read again. And the Lord sold them into the hand of Jabin, king of Canaan, that reigned in Hazor, the captain of whose host was Sisera, which dwelt in Harosheth of the Gentiles. All right, so this Jabin, king of Canaan. Now I want to go back to Joshua chapter 11, just to show y'all. Joshua chapter 11, I'll start at verse 1. It says, and it came to pass, when Jabin, king of Hazor, had heard these things, that he sent to Jobab, king of Modan, and to the king of Shimron, and to the king of Akseph, and to the kings that were on the north of the mountains, and on the plains of the south of Shinneroth, and in the valley, and in the borders of Dor on the west. All right, so this Jabin, king of Hazor, is what I'm highlighting here. I'm going to skip down to verse 5. And when all these kings were met together, they came and pitched together at the waters of Merom to fight against Israel. So the Jabin, king of Hazor, gathered together these kings to fight against us. All right. Verse 6. And the Lord said unto Joshua, be not afraid because of them, for tomorrow about this time will I deliver them up, all slain before Israel. Thou shalt hold their horses and burn their chariots with fire. So Joshua came and all the people of war with him against them by the waters of Merom suddenly, and they fell upon them. And the Lord delivered them in the hand of Israel, and the Lord delivered them into the hand of Israel, who smote them and chased them unto Great Zidon, unto Misrephoth Maim, unto the valley of Mizpah, eastward, and they smote them until they left them none remaining. This is what I want to read or highlight there. And they smote them until they left none remaining. And Joshua did unto them as the Lord bade him, and he hold their horses and burnt their chariots with fire. And Joshua at that time turned back and took Hazor and smote the king. This is Jabin. And Joshua at that time turned back and took Hazor and smote the king thereof with the sword. For Hazor before time was the head of all those kingdoms. And they smote, this is verse 11, and they smote all the souls that were therein with the edge of the sword, utterly destroying them. There was not any left to breathe, and he burnt Hazor with fire. Okay, I'm going to read verse 10 again. And Joshua at that time turned back and took Hazor and smote the king thereof with the sword. So Joshua killed the king of Hazor called Jabin at this time. Okay, so now when we jump to Judges chapter 4, verse 2, I'll read 1 and 2 again. And the children of Israel again did evil in the sight of the Lord, when Ehud was dead, and the Lord sold them unto the hand of Jabin, king of Canaan. All right, so this Jabin is a different king. Same name, different, because we read earlier, that's why I wanted to show y'all that, because Joshua killed that king at that time. So this king here just has the same name. All right. Verse 2 again. And the Lord sold them into the hand of Jabin, king of Canaan, that reigned in Hazor, the captain of whose host was Sisera, which dwelt in Harosheth of the Gentiles. And the children of Israel cried unto the Lord, for he had 900 chariots of iron, and 20 years he mightily oppressed the children of Israel. And for 20 years he mightily oppressed the children of Israel. These things go right back to the curses, right? Notice going back to Judges 4:1, and the children of Israel again did evil in the sight of the Lord. So watch this. Deuteronomy 28, verse 47. Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee. You see that? Which the Lord shall send against thee. That's Judges chapter 4, verse 2. And the Lord sold them into the hand of Jabin. Okay. I'll go back. Deuteronomy 28, 47 again. Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee. All right, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in the want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. So this enemy in verse 48 is a particular enemy, but I wanted to correlate how once we stop serving the Most High, he delivered us to the hands of our enemies. Okay, that's the highlighting, or the theme rather, of the book of Judges. We do evil, he delivers to the enemy. Okay, this verse 48 is talking about Esau in particular, the so-called white man. All right, on this side, but it was the same thing back then. All right, every time we did evil, we were delivered to the enemies. Going back to Judges chapter 4 and 3. And the children of Israel cried unto the Lord, for he had 900 chariots of iron. In 20 years he mightily oppressed the children of Israel. And Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Labadoth, she judged Israel at that time. And Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Labadoth, she judged Israel at that time. I want to get something. I want to get some real quick. All right. Let's see if I can turn my screen. All right. Judge. Now look, it says, properly a magistrate or ruler, rather than one who judges in the sense of trying a cause. This is the name given to those rulers who presided over the affairs of the Israelites during the interval between the death of Joshua and the ascension of Saul. All right. So back to the top. Properly a magistrate or ruler, rather than one who judges in the sense of trying a cause. Okay. I want to get something else on Deborah real quick. All right. So now we're going to start at the top. Number 2, 12th century BC. All right. This is definition of Deborah. The first one is talking about somebody else. All right. A judge and prophetess. All right. In the Old Testament, there is only one woman whose force of character and sagacity made her a leader in her own right. So now they use that word sagacity. I want to get the definition real quick. I'm gonna pull it up. So they use that word sagacity, which goes into sagacious. It says having or showing keen mental discernment and good judgment. Shrewd. See that? Having or showing keen mental discernment and good judgment. Okay. I'll read from the top again. A judge and prophetess in the Old Testament, there's only one woman whose force of character and sagacity, her good judgment, all right, made her a leader in her own right. That was Deborah, who in the 12th century BC now it says here, led a successful Israelite revolt against the Canaanite dominion in the northern part of the country. So she didn't lead the Israelite revolt. Okay, she was a motivating factor, and we're gonna get through that as we go through the lesson. But I just want to show y'all what it's saying about her, and then I also want to get her husband's name, because it mentioned Judges chapter 4 verse 4 again. And Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Labadoth. So she had a husband. Now, it doesn't go into any details about him in the biblical text at all. As far as I know, this is the only time his name is even mentioned. So for whatever reason, Whether he passed away, he was traveling, whatever, we don't know. All right. It doesn't mention anything in particular about him, but I do want to show y'all. I want to show y'all what they're saying that his name means, Labadoth. All right. Now, right here, that's giving us the definition of his name, torches. Okay. Torches. So he obviously wasn't a weak brother. Okay. Weak and feeble with that type of name. But it says torches. Deborah is called the wife of Labadoth. Some have rendered the expression a woman of a fiery spirit under the supposition that Labadoth is not a proper name, a woman of a torch-like spirit. So then they try to blur the lines to say, well, maybe it just means that she had a fiery spirit and she wasn't really his wife and so forth. But no, that was her husband's name. Okay. But his name meant torches. Now it's saying she could have potentially had a fiery spirit and so forth. But the scriptures does say she was a judge and a prophetess. So, you know, I'm going to get Sirach 7. Watch this. Sirach chapter 7, verse 26. It says, hast thou a wife after thy mind? Forsake her not, but give not thyself over to a light woman. Okay. Hast thou a wife after their mind? So now if Labadoth, his name meant torches, his wife had to take on some level of discernment from him. Okay. All right. It's just like, you know, Bishop Nathaniel. And then, you know, you see his wife, Mother Shamara, she has some of his characteristics. Okay. It says 7:26 again, hast thou a wife after thy mind? Forsake her not, but give not thyself over to a light woman. So again, Labadoth meant torches, obviously a fiery brother in his own right, just based on the name. Again, the biblical text doesn't go into anything about him in particular, but we have to assume, obviously, based on the biblical text, Deborah was not a light woman, so neither was her husband. Okay, Judges 4:4 again, and Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Labadoth, and she judged Israel at that time, and she dwelt under the palm tree of Deborah. Hold on, real quick. There was something else I wanted to get on Deborah. One second, let me see. Give me a second, Israel. Hold on. All right, I'm going to skip it. All right, verse 5 again. And she dwelt under the palm tree of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel and Mount Ephraim. And the children of Israel came up to her for judgment. Now look at that. But I do want to show y'all this one thing again, because they tried to say here, check this out. It says a judge and prophetess in the Old Testament. There is only one woman whose force of character and sagacity made her a leader in her own right. So they're trying to make her look like or sound like she was Wonder Woman, Xena, the warrior princess or something like that. She went out fighting battles and so forth. That's not what she did, right? But I'll read it again. A judge and prophetess in the Old Testament. There's only one woman whose force of character and sagacity made her a leader in her own right. That was Deborah, who in the 12th century BC led a successful Israelite revolt. Okay, again, she didn't lead it. She was a motivating factor. And we're going to we're going to clarify that as we get through the lesson. which led a successful Israelite revolt against the Canaanite domination in the northern part of the country. All right, so they're saying that she led the thing there. But look at the biblical text again, 4 and 5. And Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Labadoth, she judged Israel at that time. And she dwelt under the palm tree of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in the Mount Ephraim. It says she dwelt under a palm tree. So she was kicked back in the shade, chilling, and people came to her for certain levels of judgment and discernment. Remember, sagacity meant she had good judgment. Okay, so it says she dwelt under the palm tree. So she wasn't out fighting wars with swords and spears and so forth. No, she had a little chair under the palm tree, kicked back. All right. And that's what she, judge matters. People came to her for a level of discernment. All right. And she dwelt under the palm tree of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in the Mount Ephraim. Now I'm going to get that. I want to show y'all that on the map. It said between Ramah and Bethel. All right. Okay. I'm reading again. And she dwelt under the palm tree of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in the Mount of Ephraim. So y'all see Ephraim here, and Ramah is there. Bethel is here. So between those two, right? It says, and she dwelt under the palm tree of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel. All right. So that's where this was here. In the Mount of Ephraim, and the children of Israel came up to her for judgment. Verse 6, and she sent and called Barak. All right. That name Barak, let me see if I can get it real quick. Still with Barak. Barak says lightning. All right, that's what his name means, lightning. The son of Abinoam, at the summons of Deborah, he made war against Jabin. So remember, the other book tried to say Deborah led the revolt, but no, it wasn't. It wasn't her. It was Barak. All right. Again, lightning. The son of Abinoam, at the summons of Deborah, he made war against Jabin. She accompanied him into the battle and gave the signal for the little army to make the attack, in which the host of Jabin was completely routed. Okay, so Barak, his name means lightning. All right, verse 6 again. And she sent and called Barak, the son of Abinoam, out of Kadesh Naphtali. All right, Kadesh means sanctuary, so the sanctuary of Naphtali. Now I'm going to show y'all that on the map as well. So, all right, if y'all look here, right, we see Naphtali here, Kadesh, okay, Kadesh Naphtali. All right, that's what we're reading about. I'll read it again. And she sent and called Barak, the son of Abinoam, out of Kadesh Naphtali. So now, remember, it says Deborah was down between Ramah and Bethel here. All right. And Barak was up here in Kadesh Naphtali. All right. She sent and called Barak, the son of Abinoam, out of Kadesh Naphtali, and said unto him, have not the Lord God of Israel commanded, saying, go and draw toward Mount Tabor, and take with thee 10,000 men of the children of Naphtali, and the children of Zebulun. Okay, so go and draw toward Mount Tabor, which is right here. All right, right there. Mount Tabor, where the triangle is. It's a mountain peak. So Barak was up here. She's saying, travel down to this vicinity here. All right. Verse 6 again. And she sent and called Barak, the son of Abinoam, out of Kadesh Naphtali, and said unto him, Have not the Lord God of Israel commanded, saying, Go and draw toward Tabor, and take with thee 10,000 men of the children of Naphtali and the children of Zebulun. And I will draw unto thee, to the river Kishon Sisera, the captain of Jabin's army. It says, so once you go down there, I'm going to draw unto you the river, to the river Kishon. Okay, that river is here. The Kishon River travels through this vicinity here. Okay, so again, Barak was up top in Kadesh Naphtali. She's saying, travel down to here, and the Most High is going to draw Sisera to this river here. Okay. All right. Verse 7 again. And I will draw unto thee to the river Kishon Sisera, the captain of Jabin's army. And that word Kishon, that river, means winding. The river named Kishon means winding, assumably, right, based on the pattern of it. Okay. Very windy. Let's go back. Verse 7 again. And I will draw unto thee the river Kishon, Sisera, the captain of Jabin's army, with the chariots and his multitude, and I will deliver him into thine hand. So now this is, she's prophesying now. Okay, a prophetess. She's letting Barak know, you travel down, the Most High is going to deliver him into your hand. Okay, the Most High put this in her spirit to prophesy at this time. All right, for the nation of Israel's deliverance. Verse 7 again. And I will draw unto thee to the river Kishon Sisera, the captain of Jabin's army, with his chariots and his multitude, and I will deliver him into thine hand. And Barak said unto her, If thou wilt go with me, then I will go. But if thou wilt not go with me, then I will not go. Okay, so again, she was a motivating factor. She wasn't leading the battle. She didn't have sword and spear, chainmail, body armor, helmets, and so forth. No, remember it says she dwelt under the palm tree, and they came and she judged them. Okay, certain matters that needed her discernment. That's what she was there for, under the palm tree, not fighting battles. But she was, again, a motivating factor. Okay, which we need women like that in the nation of Israel. All right, even to this very day. Verse 8 again. And Barak said unto her, If thou wilt go with me, then I will go. But if thou wilt not go with me, then I will not go. And she said, I will surely go with thee, notwithstanding the journey that thou takest shall not be with thine honor. For the Lord shall sell Sisera into the hand of a woman. And Deborah, so meaning what? Although you're going to go out to battle and fight and so forth, you're not going to be the one that kills him. Okay, the Most High is not going to allow you to put your hands on him. It's going to be the hand of a woman. All right. And Deborah arose and went with Barak to Kadesh. Okay, so now going back to the map, it says, and Deborah arose and went with Barak to Kadesh. So remember, it says that she dwelt between Ramah and Bethel, right? She dwelt here, and then she called Barak down from Kadesh. So he traveled down, they met, had a discussion and so forth. He said, all right, okay, if you go, I'll go as well. So she came up, all right, with him to Kadesh, back in the land of Naphtali. Verse 10. And Barak called Zebulun and Naphtali to Kadesh, and he went up with 10,000 men at his feet, and Deborah went up with him. Now Heber the Kenite, which was of the children of Hobab, the father-in-law of Moses. So now Heber the Kenite. I referenced this in the previous lessons in Judges. Chapter 1, Judges chapter 1, verse 16. It says, and the children of the Kenite, Moses' father-in-law, the children of the Kenite. All right. So that term, going back over here, Judges chapter 4 and 11. Now, Heber the Kenite, that term Kenite means smiths. All right. They dealt in weaponry, iron, metals, and so forth. They were smiths. Okay. That's what that term Kenite means. This brother in particular, his name was Heber. He was a Kenite, which was of the children of Hobab, the father-in-law of Moses. These were Midianites. All right. And I'm going to show y'all that real quick. Numbers chapter 10, because it mentioned Moses' father-in-law. Watch this. Numbers chapter 10, verse 29. And Moses said unto Hobab, the son of Raguel, the Midianite, Moses' father-in-law. So you see that, the Midianite. And Moses said unto Hobab, the son of Raguel, the Midianite, Moses' father-in-law. That's all I wanted out of that. All right, the Midianite. Going back to Judges chapter 4, verse 11. Now Heber the Kenite, which was of the children of Hobab, the father-in-law of Moses. So Heber was a Midianite. It says, had severed himself from the Kenites. So now the other parts of the clan, he separated himself from them. And pitched his tent unto the plain of Zionaim, which is by Kadesh. So he pitched his tent unto the plain of Zionaim, which is by Kadesh. Now going back to the map, it's not on the map Zionaim, but it says which is by Kadesh. So remember, it says Barak and Deborah traveled up here. He called Naphtali, Zebulun up there, and then Heber the Kenite, he traveled to this other plain, which is in this vicinity as well. All right. Verse 12. And they showed Sisera that Barak, the son of Abinoam, was gone up to the Mount Tabor. So now they obviously had spies watching what Barak was doing, and they showed Sisera, hey, listen, he went down to Mount Tabor. Okay, again, I'm gonna just show you on the map for reference. They were in Kadesh. He traveled down to Mount Tabor here. Okay, I'll read that verse again. Verse 12, and they showed Sisera that Barak, the son of Abinoam, was going up to the Mount Tabor. And Sisera gathered together all the chariots, even 900 chariots of iron, and all the people that were with him from Harosheth of the Gentiles unto the river Kishon. So now, unto the river Kishon. Remember we read that earlier. It means winding. So this river, remember Deborah said, when you go to Mount Tabor, Most High is going to bring Sisera to this river right here. Okay, so everything that she told Barak is coming to pass. She was a prophetess. Okay, the Most High put this in her spirit to understand and discern, the what was going to happen. What verse we at? 14. Verse 14. And Deborah said unto Barak, up, for this is the day in which the Lord hath delivered Sisera into thine hand. Is not the Lord gone out before thee? So Barak went down from the Mount Tabor, and 10,000 men after him. Let's go to 2 Chronicles chapter 20. Second Chronicles chapter 20 and verse 15. It says, and he said, hearken ye all Judah, and ye inhabitants of Jerusalem, and thou King Jehoshaphat. Thus saith the Lord unto you, be not afraid, nor dismayed by reason of this great multitude, for the battle is not yours, but God's. All right. Be not afraid, nor dismayed by reason of this great multitude, for the battle is not yours, but God's. Okay. So that's the same thing that Deborah, as a motivating factor, was letting Barak know. I read 14 again, Judges chapter 4, verse 14. And Deborah said unto Barak, up, for this is the day in which the Lord hath delivered Sisera into thine hand. Is not the Lord God, is not the Lord gone out, before thee? So Barak went down from Mount Tabor, and 10,000 men after him. Let me get Deuteronomy as well on that point. Deuteronomy chapter 9, verse 3. Understand therefore this day that the Lord thy God is he which goeth over before thee. The Lord thy God is he which goeth over before thee. As a consuming fire, he shall destroy them, and he shall bring them down before thy face. So shalt thou drive them out and destroy them quickly, as the Lord hath said unto thee. So in anything we do, the Most High always has to be at the forefront of the battle. All right, because we cannot do anything without his spirit, his guidance, his angelic powers around us. It can't be done. All right, not without him. Like the scripture says, not by might, but by my spirit. Verse 14 again. And Deborah said unto Barak, up, for this is the day in which the Lord hath delivered Sisera into thine hand. Is not the Lord gone out before thee? So Barak went down from Mount Tabor, and 10,000 men after him. I think I have an image here. Let me see. I ain't worried about it. Verse 15, Judges 4:15. And the Lord discomfited Sisera. See that? And the Lord discomfited Sisera. Okay. And all his chariots and all his hosts with the edge of the sword before Barak, so that Sisera lighted down off his chariot and fled away on his feet. So they were getting slaughtered. Sisera was like, oh, shoot, let me get the hell out of here. So he got off and started running on foot. All right. Verse 16, but Barak pursued after the chariots and after the hosts unto Harosheth of the Gentiles. And all the hosts of Sisera fell upon the edge of the sword. And there was not a man left. So the entire host killed. All right. It's only Sisera left. Let me see something here. Okay. Verse 17. Howbeit Sisera fled on his feet to the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite. So howbeit Sisera fled away on his feet to the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite. Now remember we read about him earlier in verse 11. Now Heber the Kenite, which was of the children of Hobab. Remember, these are Midianites. It says, now Heber the Kenite, which was of the children of Hobab, the father-in-law of Moses, had severed himself from the Kenites and pitched his tent unto the plain of Zaanaim, which is by Kadesh. Okay. 17 again. Howbeit Sisera fled away on his feet to the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite. for there was peace between Jabin, the king of Hazor, and the house of Heber the Kenite. So he thought, you know what? My boy's over here. I could just go over there, find refuge, hide out for a couple of days. I'm going to be good there. They had peace between, it says, there was peace between Jabin, the king of Hazor, and the house of Heber the Kenite. Okay, the house. So that meant the wife was supposed to be at peace as well. But the Most High's hand was in all of this. All right, verse 18. And Jael went out to meet Sisera and said unto him, turn in, my lord. Turn in to me, fear not. And when he had turned in unto her, unto the tent, she covered him with a mantle. All right, so she covered, hey, lay down, put some cover over the brother, whatever. All right. And he said unto her, give me, I pray thee, a little water to drink, for I am thirsty. And she opened a bottle of milk. So he asked for water. She gave him milk. Okay. Made him feel extra comfortable. And she opened a bottle of milk and gave him a drink, or gave him drink and covered him, right, with the mantle. Verse 20. Again, he said unto her, stand in the door of the tent, and it shall be, when any man doth come and inquire of thee, and say, is there any man here? Then thou shalt say no. So, okay, Jael, go stand by the door. Anybody come, just tell them ain't nobody here. All right, because he knew that Barak was following behind him on foot. He obviously had seen people chasing him. You know, once you get off, or you're on foot and you're trying to flee from somebody, you're gonna look back to see if anybody's behind you. Okay. I read that verse again. And again, he said unto her, stand in the door of the tent, and it shall be, when any man doth come and inquire of thee, and say, is there any man here? Then thou shalt say no. Then Jael, Heber's wife, took a nail of the tent, and took an hammer in her hand, and went softly unto him, and smote the nail into his temples. Now look at that. She smote the nail into his temples. You got temples on both sides of your head. So it went from one side all the way to the other side. Okay, just hammering it down. Boom, boom, boom. 21 again. Then Jael, Heber's wife, took a nail of the tent, and took an hammer in her hand, and went softly unto him, and smote the nail into his temples, and fastened it to the ground. So again, he was laying on the ground. It went into one temple, through the other, into the ground, and fastened it to the ground, for he was fast asleep and weary, so he died. Verse 22. And behold, as Barak pursued Sisera, Jael came out to meet him. So Barak was pursuing, all right, as we already read. Jael came out to meet him, and said unto him, come, I will show thee the man whom thou seekest. And when he came into her tent, behold, Sisera lay dead, and the nail was in his temples. So God subdued on that day Jabin, the king of Canaan, before the children of Israel. Notice it says, so God subdued on that day Jabin, the king of Canaan. Because again, the Most High's hand was in all of this. All right. Because we read there was peace between the king and the house of Heber, the Kenite. But the Most High put the spirit in her. No, not today. Anybody that fights against Israel and the Most High is with us, they going down. All right. Verse 23 again. So God subdued on that day Jabin, the king of Canaan, before the children of Israel. And the hand of the children of Israel prospered and prevailed against Jabin, the king of Canaan, until they had destroyed the Jabin, king of Canaan. All right. Let me see if I'm going to show y'all anything else real quick. Like I said, it wasn't going to be a long lesson. Okay, so this image here, you see here, it says Mount Tabor, situated on the northeast corner of Jezreel. All right, so that's what they're saying. That's an image they're giving us of Mount Tabor. All right, potentially. But I think that's it, Israel. Yep, that's it. So this has been History in the AM, Judges chapter 4. I'm Captain Josiah. You have a blessed day. Most High in Christ bless.